Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our lunch lab today. I am Sally Delisle, co-owner and director of trainings at Childlight Education Company. Our mission is providing wellness education to create happy, healthy, and resilient youth and families. Today, we are talking with Hillery of Hillery Woods Wellness in Eastern Pennsylvania, one of the most intuitive body workers and healers that I have ever had the privilege of knowing. So welcome, Hillery. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Sally. Thank you for asking me.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled that you were available for us today.
Yeah, it worked out great.
It did. So we could talk about so many things. You have so many offerings to the community and individuals. I know you're creating new programs right now as well. You meet with people in person and also online now with some new programs. Would you like to start out by sharing a few of your offerings?
Sure. So I have a clinical practice in Sellersville, Pennsylvania, and I work with lots of different bodywork modalities, but my main interest is harmonization and looking at how to uncover the layers of what a symptom is presenting as, using my tools to kind of uncover the layers. And I like to think of myself as like a detective for soft tissue. So a lot of the problems that come into my clinic might be, you know, uh, structural in the body. They could be joint related, but usually there is a deeper cause that I'm looking for. And so I'll, use combinations of Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, muscle specific body work, movement. I use assessment tools like tongue reading and pulse reading and face reading. And so a lot of that really points to lifestyle, really, is like, how can I help people integrate these tools for self health into their lifestyles? That's my main interest, that we can learn our own signals, learn how to, avoid things becoming an emergency or an acute situation, especially because I think a lot of times the cause can be emotional. And so that's why it's exciting to talk about one of the things that I love doing with you today, which is Jin Shin Jyutsu, because a lot of things in our culture can really come from an emotional disharmony or an emotional blockage, which we don't necessarily need to understand where it came from in order to clear it out. Just being present and breathing is a real game changer. So in my work, I really excel in being present with what's in front of me. And so that's just, people want to be seen, people want to be heard, people want time with their providers, and that's what I'm doing.
And you do it very well.
Thank you.
So for those of you that are watching this that don't know, when I lived in Pennsylvania for 14 years, I had the privilege, the honor, the gift of spending time with Hillery. And at one point I was able to see you, Hillery, almost monthly. And for quite a while, I would show up in your space and you would say, "What do you need today?" or "How can I serve you today?" And sometimes I didn't know. And so you would offer me something, and sometimes it would be something different, and I would just be open to whatever you suggested that day. And one day you said, "Well, why don't we try Jin Shin Jyutsu?" And I had no idea what it was, no idea what you were talking about. But you create such a safe space and you hold space for others. You held so much space for me. I trusted you no matter what it was. And so for this practice, what I remember is laying down on the massage table, fully clothed. I always took my shoes off. Um, and it was warm and comforting. And you would ask if I wanted blankets or not. And I always did because I'm always cold. And you would check my pulse. And then I remember you holding different acupuncture spots, is what I thought of them as, but that may not be accurate. So, what is the history behind this practice? What is it? How is it practiced? Is that an accurate description, what I just said?
It is. And the way that I like to describe it is it predates acupuncture. So I'm using common acupuncture sites, and I call them sites of accumulation. So
Mm.
the longer I've done this work, I can just see that it's, things get accumulated and we want to help the energy flow there. And um the site of accumulation is very distinct, and I'll explain that a little bit in a little bit more time. But these places that we're unloading or freeing up energy is with my hands. So my hands are going to be in two different locations in the body, and in Jin Shin Jyutsu we call this jumper cabling. So it's like, we're um really activating the body's fuse box. And so we also like to say we're tuning up ourselves, giving ourselves a tune up. And so when my hands are feeling the energy in these two different locations, I'm listening for these two sites to start to harmonize. So I'll feel the sound, or I'll feel the pulse, and it's more like just the presence of these locations, and I want to feel them harmonize. I want to feel them both have the same kind of sound or pulse, and that's like a feeling. But sooner or later, all of this starts to move the energy in all these different pathways that I'm choosing. And like you said, just feeling like these were acupuncture sites, it's really acupuncture without needles, and in a way, um but and you also explained being fully clothed, which I love that about Jinshin Jitsu. I can do it anywhere. I can, make it work in so many different places. I've used it in hospitals when people have been like really, connected to all sorts of monitoring devices, and they, seemingly I couldn't actually get to touch them, but I could be under a table, and I could even be over them, and I could still be, feeling this energy presence and helping to harmonize the body. So it's beautiful. I can use it in, somebody can be in a chair, they can be anywhere. So that's what I love. It's accessible, really accessible. And the the main part about Jin Shinjitsu is that it's based in self-help, that we harmonize ourselves. So that's the other part about the work that I'm interested in, is I'm interested in empowering people to help themselves, to give them these tools. And so, with Jin Shinjitsu, we can absolutely move our own energy and give ourselves a tune up.
So it doesn't have to be you practicing it on someone or a practitioner doing it to someone else. We can practice it on ourselves.
Yes. Yep.
That's beautiful. That's not always necessarily true for all body work types.
Yeah. Yeah. And it becomes one of the things that we can do to, help ourselves sleep better. We can do it if our bodies are giving us signals of like digestive stress or mental stress. And I had mentioned the emotions indeed are always part of it. But I've used it on my torn meniscus for my knee. I really helped avoid surgery for that with the help of Jin Shin. And um, lots of different ways that, if I'm needing help or needing more energy, I give myself a little tune up. And later I can show you how to do that.
Super.
Yeah.
So that was my next question. What are some of the benefits? So I heard you say that it assists with balancing energy,
Yep.
gives us a tune up, assists with sleep and digestion. Are there some other benefits as well?
Well, a lot of like when you just said digestion, what my when I see things move with the help of this work, it is always in the guts. And um really clearing the pathways that go through the body. They're invisible. But these invisible pathways inform organ function. So when our digestive system is not working well, and we get signals of you know the subtle signals of that, it really impacts everything else. So the the main thing, of course, is digestion. But then, like I had mentioned, it's also can be very physical. It can be if my shoulder's not feeling well, or if I have tendonitis in my elbow, or I've got my thumb joint, or maybe it's emotional and I need to just be able to open my heart more, or feel just more connected to everything. um the other things that I come across are chronic illness, and I really think it helps chronic illness, especially fibromyalgia.
Mm.
I've had fibromyalgia, and it's one of the things that really helped me overcome the patterns that I would encounter in my disharmony. Um, so yeah, like chronic fatigue, chronic pain, um, jaw pain, eyes, um, just anything you can imagine. It's really incredible how this can be so helpful for so many things: fertility, menstrual pain, menopause, so many things.
Sounds very helpful. I know it was very helpful for me for many reasons. And after I left your space after a treatment, I felt the effects for days, and it was very calming for me as well. I felt very grounded and very calm.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, Sally, because like I often tell people after they've had a full session with me in my clinic, is I'll say, we just moved and activated all these channels, and they're going to continue to move for another 8 hours. So the fact that you felt them for days isn't uncommon. I hear that a lot, where people will feel, that they had this um peace and calm, and just more connection to themselves. And yeah, it's incredible how it can resolve a lot of things, and be very potent. And the thing that I love is I didn't come in there and like squish you around, or like I didn't come and manipulate a lot of stuff. I didn't move you. I didn't do anything. So it's like, gosh, that's incredible that somebody can just be still, and we can listen and harmonize, and they can receive so many benefits.
Hmm. Yeah, just by holding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there contraindications to this practice, Hillary?
I in my training, I didn't I was told there are not contraindications. And the thing that um I've never encountered any. And there's things that you want to consider, of course. If our hands, are on somebody else's body, if I'm using pressure, I need to be sensitive if something's too strong. If I'm creating pain, if I'm using too much pressure with my application on their body. But otherwise, I think that's what I love about it. It doesn't interfere with anybody's, if they're using pharmaceutical medications, there's no contraindications with that. The only other thing is the position of the body, that if I'm giving somebody a session, I have people who, need help in the way that their body's positioned on the table, to make sure that they're comfortable. But yeah, I don't know any contraindications, which is usually very unique.
That is unique.
Yeah.
Super. Do you have information about the practice that you can share with us today?
That we're gonna do together.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I call like a daily sequence that just goes through a lot of helpful places of accumulation, and that we can just help move the energy. So one of the things that we think about, and this of course comes through in yoga, is that we have these main channels of energy. So we have the main channel in yoga, we call that Sushumna, and in Jin Shin Jyutsu, we call it the main central channel. So that's the channel that is running in front of the spine and informs the spine. And then there's the right and left side channels. So, Ida and Pingala in yoga. And the right side channel and the left side channel are also places of accumulation. So we have those, main channels, but we also have the channels that are crossing, that are going from right to left. And I like to think of the symbol of the caduceus in medicine, that staff with the snake, spiraling around it. That's the same thing. I've got my main central channel, and I've got the energy that is getting my right side to communicate with my left side. Because a lot of times people come in, they're like, everything happens on my right side of my body. What's going on? And it's interesting because it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's the right side channel needs some help. So this sequence I like because it kind of it gets all of that in tune, and it's easy to do because we're seated.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. And then after we do this, Sally, I realized I didn't give you a lot of the history, which I definitely want to include here, and my teachers, to honor them. So maybe before we start, I'm just going to offer a little honoring and gratitude. So I just want to, really give thanks to the source of Jin Shin Jyutsu from Japan, which was Master Jiro Murai. And he, essentially sent this information towards us here in the West through a beautiful woman called Mary Burmeister, who intercepted these teachings in Japan. Her husband was in the military, and she is a Japanese American woman. And but her American husband was in service in Japan, and she intercepted these teachings. And I can go into it more after we do it, but I just want to honor Jiro Murai and Mary Burmeister before we start.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to take a little minute to change my screen here. Okay. So one of the things that we can do daily is to breathe 36 breaths. And that can be a way that really harmonizes the whole body. So I'm just going to plant that seed that if you have some kind of meditation or introspective practice, one of the benefits is this idea of 36 conscious breaths. And in what we're doing would be 5 breaths per step. So step 1 is that we're going to cross the arms, holding elbow to elbow. And So I'm just lifting my arms to show you, but then you're just going to drop your arms and be very relaxed in the position that you're using. And can you see me okay? Because I don't have my self view on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where we'd start, and just breathing 5 breaths here. And with this last breath, we'll just move our right, so the hand that is you've usually, if you cross, you've got one hand under your elbow and you've got another hand that's kind of on the side, so move that hand up to the middle of your arm, and this will be the second position. And we'll breathe here. 5 conscious breaths. Okay, then the next step is that we're going to shift, and hopefully you can see this happen. I'm going to shift I'll stand up and just show you. So I'm going to shift I've got this hand here. I'm going to shift the hand that was under my elbow to the inside of my leg. So can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm going to sit down. So now I've got the left hand on the inside of my leg, and the right hand is on my shoulder. I'm not sure what side you're using. But here we'll pause. And with this position, we're really clearing out the accumulation that is around like the chest area, and we're also moving energy up the body. So the hand on the leg is helping to ascend energy, clear out the chest. But because my arms are crossing, I'm also telling my right and my left sides to communicate. Okay, so the next move that we're going to change is the leg's going to stay on, my hand's going to stay on my inner thigh, but this hand is going to come under to my, like under my arm here. So the hand on your shoulder is going to go under your arm. And hopefully you can see I'm just kind of holding the back of the axillary area.
Yep, we can see.
Okay, and so then we're going to breathe here. Okay. And then the next position we're going to use is we're going to change the position of the arm under your hand. It's going to come up to your shoulder. And the other hand is going to go on the same side. So this is all left side. It's going to hold the sits bone. And here again, internalizing your awareness, breathing 5 times. Okay, and then we'll switch the hand that's at the sits bones is just going to come into the front of the crease of the hip here, and you'll place it there. And breathing 5 times here. And I'll explain that. So we had our hand at the base of the sits bone. So that was really pulling energy, ascending energy again. But then I want that energy to come back down. So now I'm putting my hand in front of at the crease of the pelvis because I want the energy to descend. when energy is in harmony, that's what we see as the pattern is moving up and down. So like the major rivers are flowing from north to south. When the energy is in harmony, that's what we're looking for, is this pattern of energy coming to the main central. And when that's happening, we're in harmony. But some of the signs of disharmony is that the energy gets caught going across the body. So I might have a headache, I might have like shoulder pain, I might have digestive pain. So those are patterns that are showing us disharmony just by the way that they're moving across. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do is placing both hands under the armpits. And this one, like we like to say, is like giving ourselves a hug. And breathing here 5 times. Good. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is this left hand is going to be placed on the other shoulder. So we did the opposite shoulder. Now we're going to the top of the other shoulder. And the other hand is going to be holding a mudra with the thumb and the ring finger making a circle. And you can just let that hand relax in your lap. And we'll take our final 5 breaths here. And then just gently opening your eyes, and with your hand here resting at the top of your shoulder, you might sense like this is a common place where, in my clinical practice, people come in, they're like, oh, this is so painful right here, and you can even sense like with your fingertips, like I'll push back here into my tissue and I'll find like little bumps or little spots that are tender in my body. And it can be very common that for other people, they might feel tension here or tenderness. And I just wanted to bring your awareness there and mention that, this is a super highway of many pathways that are intersecting right here specifically. And it's also, the very, top of the thoracic spine. So it's like just a super highway of so much invisible and visible as far as like, nerves and tissue. So this one is a very common one that can just offer a lot of relief, is the mudra, but it's also the different sequences that we did where the hand was at the sits bone, or the hand was in front of the crease of the pelvis, or my opposite hand went to the opposite thigh. So we just did these. So when your viewers want to, you could rewind, and then you're just going to notice that, this place of having my hand was very significant. It came up, and it's because it really helps clear out that area.
So I'm just going to sit here in a puddle right now.
Yeah, so it's interesting. What do you feel?
I feel calm. My arms feel kind of heavy, soft, heavy. Like I just want to sit here.
Yeah, I share that experience. My arms feel really relaxed. I feel like a lot more aware of the front of my body for some reason right now. But yeah, I hope that people can use that sequence. I call it like a little daily self-help sequence.
It's almost like doing a puzzle. All the puzzle pieces were scattered, and then all the puzzle pieces came together in one piece.
I love that.
I don't have to be all over the place right now. I can just be
Yeah.
here. Be
Yeah.
here now.
Be here now.
Hmm. That's really helpful. So I think you just said this, but I am kind of in a zone right now. So we would move through the whole sequence again on the other side, or is one side enough?
You sure could, but I mean, I think it you can definitely do the whole sequence on the other side, and you can also know that, you can also work on the side that is talking to you more. That can be something where you can kind of troubleshoot time, because time is something we're always working with. That, if you're aware that one side of your body is accumulated more, then just start on that side.
Okay.
But you'll always get the benefit of both sides doing this work, because we did, move around to so many locations in that sequence, that I think just, starting out with that one is really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find that very helpful.
Good.
Sure.
Good. I'm so glad.
Thank
So
you.
Sally, I could share the screen and just show you a map of what these sites of accumulation.
That would
Would that
be
be
wonderful.
helpful?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I think you can see this. So here we are. This is a really great image of these different sites of accumulation. So in Jin Shin Jyutsu, there's 26 sites of accumulation, and they're on the right and left sides. So each side of the body has these locations. And you can see so I'm just going to point to number 11. So that was what I was talking about as the, major highway there. But we are also at this number 26, which is a huge part of the spleen, and just the helping the body really get recharged and nourished. So this is just a brief glimpse of all of these, what we call safety energy locks, or as I call them, sites of accumulation. They all have many, many deeper meanings. I'm going to change the slides, because I see our time is really speeding ahead here. So the next one is, as I mentioned, feelings. And I love Jinshin because really all of these channels go to our hand and our feet. So we always have our hands, and we can harmonize ourselves just through holding our fingers. And this is such a great image. This is somebody else's design, and I'm allowed to use it. But she shows us here how the thumb and it is helpful for harmonizing worry. So these are the 5 basic feelings. But the thumb also connects to the spleen and stomach channels. So then we have fear in the index finger, and fear is the root of all of our feelings. So when we harmonize fear, we harmonize everything else. And fear is related to the bladder and kidney channels. Then we have the middle finger for anger, which is always just so funny, right? And so
Makes sense.
so then we're harmonizing the gallbladder and liver channels. Then we've got grief or sadness, which is the ring finger, which is helping the lung and large intestine. And then we have the pinky finger, which is pretense or trying too hard. Like I always like to explain, people are like, oh, I tried to get here on time. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to be, working out every day, or I'm trying, so that can indicate, oh, this, pretense, trying too hard. So that really affects the heart and the small intestine channels. And then you can see in the center is source. So source is like the main central, is the source of energy. Um, you know, we always at the end of our sessions say, you know, may the source be with you, and instead of may the force be with you. May the source be with you.
Love it.
Yeah, so that's fun. So then I'm just gonna stop sharing. There we go.
That's helpful. So just by holding a finger, if you, does it matter which hand?
Well, that's another part of, like, you know, just like when you ask, like, should I do both sides? Sometimes it's going to feel very intuitive just to go to the hand, you know, like your hold feels nice and comfortable. It's like, I like to explain, when we're holding our fingers, it's like we're holding a baby. We're not squeezing the heck out of our fingers. We're just there present, holding the whole finger, you know, and if I'm holding my index, I'm wrapping my whole hand around it. Um, so yeah, you can, a lot of times you're gonna notice you'll intuitively go to a hand, but you could also think, well, what side of my body needs more help here, and work with it that way.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Super helpful. Those graphics were very helpful, Hillary. I always like to have that visual as well. So thank you for sharing those.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. So is there anything else you want to share with us before I move on here?
Well, I do want to mention, I had mentioned Mary and Jiro Marai.
Mhm.
So, you know, Mary brought this back around the 1950s into the States, and her son carried on her teachings. A lot of people in like the East Coast, I find Jin Shin is very, it's a little more used, or um there's practitioners out here, specifically people who worked with Mary, but she's no longer on the earth. But so we have a lot of people who have encountered the source of this information directly from Mary, and she was such a generous teacher. In fact, the stories, you know, of the way that she worked and her presence, she was just an amazing being who channeled so much more than Jin Shin Jyutsu. You know, she was really tuned into to a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. um and you know, she was a very feminine lady. She wore high heels, she was very fancy in the way that she dressed, and I just love that, because I think about how courageous it was to go into, and this is part of the story, to go into a room of Japanese men and want to learn Jin Shin Jyutsu, because this was something that was just being passed in the realm of men. It wasn't being passed to women. And so she really was a trailblazer, and I love her presence, and her, you know, just that we receive this information from her.
Thank you for honoring her and the history of the practice. So often the stories get lost and they don't get passed down or honored. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So how can people learn more about this practice? How can people find you? How can they schedule a treatment?
Well, in the social media land, if people are on social media, they can follow me on Instagram at Hillery Woods, HILLERY WOODS. And there I have my, you know, a link to my bio. You can also find me at my website, which is hillarywoodswellness.com. And that has you know, page for my upcoming courses and classes. I am going to be launching a Jin Shin Jyutsu course after the new year, so in the middle of January, and that'll be live and online. So you'll get audio and video. I call this Change the Channel. So it's called, my program course is called Change the Channel. And that will be a really great way to experience it. And also have the support of a group and, meet more people and really integrate it into your life and for your family. It's really, really great tool to have in your toolbox for a number of ways, yoga teachers, care providers, just regular human folk.
I'm in on that. Count me in.
Okay, good.
You've got one.
That's all I need.
I'm in. Excellent. And then if someone wants to schedule an appointment for you, can they do that through your website?
They sure can. There's a million little links all over my website that where you can book directly with me if you live in this area or want to come visit. And also you can also book a connection call, which is a 30-minute, information call if you're having a hard time figuring out what are the ways I can help you. We can talk and meet each other.
That's super. Hillery, I'm so grateful that you made time for this today. I love you so much. And all of you out there, I hope you take the time to meet up with Hillery, connect with Hillery. We appreciate you so much and all of your gifts, all you have to share with the world. And may we be able to give back to you in some way.
Wow, thanks so much. I really love being part of this conversation and your lunch labs, all of the ways that you're connecting with people through this series of educational events. I'm really happy to be part of it. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you, Hillery. I hope you take good care, and everyone else out there, take good care, and let's go do good things out in the world.
Okay, self-health is in your hands.
Indeed, literally.
Literally.
All right. Bye.
Bye.